I love music documentaries. So let's talk to Scott about his music doc, Witness Underground. Hey, Scott
Hey,
Homan, uh, glad you're joining us today. Hey, where are you right now?
so I'm on a little trip on my way to New Zealand. I stopped in Fiji, and I've been doing a little micro doc with the owner of Fiji Surf Company. So I'm in his house. He let me use his Wi-Fi while I'm here at the beach,
Oh
doing a
my
little
God.
surf and reef restoration micro documentary for him.
God, I mean, when we connected to talk about doing this interview, I didn't realize you were traveling all over. I've been to New Zealand. That's a long hike, man. It's a
It is.
14-hour flight.
Yeah, I took a 11-hour flight to get to Fiji on a hop over to Christchurch tomorrow. I'm leaving to Christchurch for the Decult Cult Awareness Conference to show our film.
Nice. Tell us, I
Yeah.
want to take a look at the trailer, but tell us about this documentary and where it came from.
Okay, so my dad joined a strange religious group. It's also globally well known, and it's a cult, but most people don't see it that way. But I had this like halfway in, halfway out life growing up in it, and I realized that there's an aspect of this group that makes them a cult that affects my life, and I want to make a film about it. So I actually have a really close personal relationship to the topic, but I was in a band. I was in a couple bands, in a high school band with like my high school normal friends, my normie friends, never culty friends, and then I made a band of my own with my own music, and I worked with my friends I was making in the religion as like 17-year old, and so the music rockumentary aspect of this film is not from not our perspective or our story, but I met all these other people in that religious community that were artists and musicians, and they were doing something cool. So I was like, well, I'm only going to be friends with those kinds of people. And I was at that time. And then I watched their world they had created inside the religious community completely crumble. And the film sort of chronicles that experience,
Yeah,
their experience.
I've never had personally an experience with a cult. And I think for the most part, people I've met who happen to be religious, it's a healthy part of their lives. But when does
Mm,
it cross over to cult status? And to be clear, I think anything could evolve into a cult, um,
yeah.
where it becomes dangerous, impacting your life in a negative way. When did you notice that?
Oof, pretty early on. When the very first thing was when my dad was sort of getting involved in it. My grandpa on my never part of that religion side died, and the people in this new religion my dad joined were saying he's not going to go to heaven, and everyone else in the family who were like on that side of the family were saying he's in heaven. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, God, what's the deal? I'm
Right.
supposed to think, grandpa's in a good spot, and other people are saying no, like, what's the deal? So I was very skeptical from that very early moment. I was like 6 years old or something. So it's ridiculous to have a kid that young, like thinking skeptically, like, what's going on over here? Something's wrong. So I think you're right. Like anything can become a cult, and that's why there's hundreds of cult YouTube channels and documentaries on the topics.
Yeah.
And really, that's the thing I started to realize. It's not just religions. It's not just this religion that's the problem. It's actually human dynamics. So like we follow charismatic leaders, and often they're that way. They've maybe they were mistreated as a kid and they became a narcissist, and they're really really good at gathering people together to follow a dream. And they're like there's people that are doing good that are also doing this pattern, and it's everywhere in society. And it could be a self help program, it could be a business coaching program, it could be your yoga studio. All these things that we think of as decent or good or healthy or worthwhile
It could
could start to follow this human structure.
it could be someone that's vegan and they just are
Yeah.
pushing the vegan. I've always, that's the thing, like you, I've always, even as a kid, been a skeptic because I had friends that were religious, but they were of different religious persuasions. And the idea that an all-knowing, loving God would say, "Well, you didn't follow this one, so you're out, but these people only." And I didn't agree with that. I think
Yeah.
like as a kid, I questioned all of that. I think we could do a benefit from more questioning. I think let's take a look at the trailer for the documentary. It does have the musical element of it which I love. So let
Yeah.
me show here, which actually this was posted on our trailers channel. So
Yep,
hopefully we won't
that's right.
get hit for this. All right, here we go.
Hi, I'm Brett Sutter, and I'm doing a demonstration tape on the modern audio equipment that our studio has, just in case you want to come and record in our modern studio.
Nuclear Gopher was a record label and online community of Jehovah's Witnesses who all did indie music. It just blew up, but it all stayed in these weird little bounds.
Witnesses can listen to music. It's not like a Footloose situation where like the preacher's like, no music ever, but stuff is frowned upon.
You need to really beware of that disco beat, because that disco beat invites the demons. This is not inviting the demons. It's Lionel Richie.
They think that any moment now, God is going to destroy the world.
At 17, I basically thought to myself, what am I doing? Is this how I want to live my life? Like, do I even believe this?
If they just treated people all right and had some kooky beliefs, I could totally live with it. But friends who committed suicide because they're gay and they're a witness, everything just changed.
Music was my savior at that point.
The moment people started taking it seriously is the moment that someone would start to, well, maybe we shouldn't be doing this.
We started talking, and she's like, well, so if we split up, would you still be a witness? What I actually said was, no, I don't believe any of it anymore. And I never saw her again.
Your wife.
Yeah, I never physically saw her again.
It was an orphan, hidden before saga.
Nuclear Gopher was very special. It created a space for people to be eccentric and creative, and also as healthy as you could be in that culture. And while it lasted, it was like the best.
Still love that trailer.
The music, I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm a big indie rock guy, so really was into it. So how long did it take you to, because a doc like that with archival footage mixed with interviews, how long does that take, and how much footage did you have to make the doc?
Well, I went into it pretty naively, thinking that I could come up with an idea and knock it out in 1 year. And then we did a lot. We crowdfunded. I got the key interview pretty early in 2018 already. It's way back, already 6 years. And then, so it's been 6 years of journey, actually, because the film just came out on wide streaming channels. So it's on Apple, Amazon, Tubi, and YouTube Movies, and a bunch of others. So it's all on the website. But the shooting was really only like 10 days of actual footage that we shot, but they did gift us this incredible archive. So there's quite a few moments in there that are archival, and that makes up the vast majority of the first half of the film is going into them kind of exploring the past, because it's a documentary, so it's their old world. But they'd made feature films, they'd made a bunch of music videos for their music about, like, there's a music video that's really funny in there about cannibalism, and so there's all these people like cutting, they're doing things like roasting someone, preparing them for dinner. It's really funny. It's on a goofy light horror. And then they made like a bunch of horror trailers for films they never made, but just for fun. They wanted to make a trailer for a horror film, and just like all kinds of stuff we didn't even get to use. So there's like, we only tap in for probably like 20% of their content, but a lot of their music. And so it's a real gift to get that kind of archive. And what's cool is there's like, it's a spiritual journey, or spiritual exit journey, if you will. Even a religious exit is probably a better way to say it, because maybe they're more spiritual now than they ever were. But it's the music that they made in the religion is like setting up their character in the film. And then the music they made after, which is a lot more powerful and a lot more meaningful, deeper topics about their transformative experience. That makes up the rest of the movie. And it kind of, you see this like music rise, and they're really, like you said, you like the music, they're really talented. And both of those songs that are in the trailer come from the post-religious moment. So never the post-cult experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, a documentary of this type is difficult enough. Like you said, you went into it naively. I've had a similar experience. It's it's never as, and I always like to say, like, if you're a doc filmmaker, you're doing this for the passion. Like,
Yeah.
so what keeps you going? Because I don't know a lot of documentary filmmakers that are rich or have butlers or are, but what that passion, like, obviously this was very personal to you.
Yeah. What keeps me going? The real passion behind this film was shunning as a topic. And I think it's important to just say the religion, because everyone tells me that that's actually the hook. Is this film is about Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jehovah's Witnesses are known for like not celebrating birthdays and holidays and knocking on your door and talking about Jesus. And so they are thought of as benign. But there's this piece of the story. There's a lot too. It's like an iceberg. You guys, most people know the top bit, but there's a huge thing underneath it. And one of those big things that keeps it in existence and functioning is shunning, which is if you violate anything, you smoke a single cigarette, you watch the wrong movie, you'll lose your connection to your family forever through coerced shunning. And so the film, really, that's the main point of is demonstrating how shunning works and how dark it gets, and what these people are doing through this emotional abuse tactic to destroy someone's life and make them suffer as a punishment. And it's like day one, you don't get like you slowly, leave the religion. No, it's like you get kicked out and that's it. There's zero communication for the rest of your life until you die. It's extreme.
It's the way you describe it. I know the doc is about religion and music, but what you're describing sounds like, certain factions of politics today.
Actually, yeah, you make a great point. I wanted to mention a couple experts in this space. One, Yanya Lalich. We'll get into her work with Bounded Choice. But Stephen Hassan is another one who's well respected in the space. He created the BITE model. It's like behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotion control. And that is a way to determine, like, is this a culty group? He also just wrote a book about the cult of Trump. And you see it in the RNC with the Trump supporters, like, chanting his name blindly. Like anything he says is correct, ignoring all forms of logic. Not to make this political, like I'm not a big fan of that human being, Trump, but there's, that's what's happening in our politics and probably on both sides to some degree.
I think it's both sides,
Democrats and
really.
Republicans.
Yeah, both sides have just gone too far for me.
Just go blindly stay on your team. It's like team sports style. Like I'm with this side, and the other, and it's like, well. There's one winner or loser every round, and it's silly to get so like wrap your identity around this strange game. It's just a game in the end,
right?
But yeah. The cult of Trump is real.
Now, the movie is out and available. Is that right?
That's right.
It's on. Well, I see Apple TV, Amazon, Tubi. Here's the website. Which good job on the website, by the way. I love the poster.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's important to, I know, like I say it, I know it, people get sick of, you have to sell the movie. Making the movie is one part, then you got to sell it.
So yeah, you asked how long it took. It took a year to a half a year to like shoot the thing and get everything we needed collected and organized, and then a full year and a half to edit. And it was a lot of like back and forth with my editor, and I did a lot of the editing too. She took the story and I did like the details. And then it was like 2 years trying to figure out how to get the movie onto a platform. And I got I hired a sales rep, I hired a producer's rep, and I got a lot of bad deals put in my face. And I read Indie Film Hustle, the book Rise of the Film Entrepreneur. I love that book. It changed my life. You probably talked to Alex Ferrari.
I know Alex. It's great. That's a great book. The Film Entrepreneur.
Happy to plug him forever. That book changed my whole trajectory. And then once I figured out how to use an aggregator, I did that and self-released it. And then now it's in the self-marketing part of it. And even if you get a distribution deal, especially the bottom level stuff I was getting, you have to do the marketing yourself anyways. So I was like, let's just go full indie on this. But that took me 3 years to figure out. I made the film. I conceived of, shot, edited, and completed the film festival run in the same amount of time it took me to like do the business of film. So if anyone's out there, it can take 3 years of your life to do a documentary, but it could take 6 if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm happy to help anyone on the journey if they watch this and they're like, I want to know how Scott did it. I'm happy to give it all away. It
does really, like, there's 2 skill sets, creative and then business. And you have to be extremely good at both to succeed. But the tools are available. Like you put the film out. It is out and available on major platforms.
My dream is concluded. Just people need to watch it now. That's where you help it. You help it.
Well, I'll just say, everybody go out and check this movie out. It's more than just a music doc with good music. The messages, and really it's a warning, not just about what can be a religious cult, but anything that could be a cult. And I think we live in a time, I think, where people are seeking purpose, and so it's bizarre to see how people can easily fall in. That heartbreaking part of the trailer, the guy said, I never saw my wife again after that moment. It's heartbreaking what this
it's
can
crazy
do.
to think that, like, she didn't make that choice. And that comes into Yanya Lalich's work, a bounded choice. Like, his wife was coerced. She thought she had to leave her husband in that moment. And she did. And they never saw each other again for the rest of their lives. And like, that kind of thing is what makes this particular religion, the Jehovah's Witnesses, a cult, even though most people don't see it that way. And I'm hoping to change that out. This isn't a film made for former Jehovah's Witnesses or Jehovah's Witnesses. It's made for the general public, like yourself. Anyone who watches this. Like, this isn't just in this religion. This kind of thing is everywhere. And once, like, I have a master's degree, I like to say, in cult. Okay, I've successfully navigated cult mind control. And so I was kind of forced into learning those skills, but I want other people to have that skill, because this is actually everywhere. It's not just idiots who get sucked into cults. Like, you might be in one, or you might be like coerced by someone else's manipulation. So this is a film to help you, like, see, like, oh, maybe, like, reevaluate your own life and situation. Maybe it's good, but you never know.
Well, Scott, congratulations. Witnessunderground.com is the website. The film is out and available, and you're working on a new projects right now.
That's right. Yeah. I'm doing a little small thing for my YouTube channel, Banana Island Films YouTube channel, on a micro doc about coral reef restoration in Fiji. I'm in the house of the owner of a company that's starting a really cool project. I filmed a little bit of it yesterday.
And doing this interview from Fiji. Scott, have a great day. Enjoy your time in Fiji.
Thanks a lot, Chris. This is a pleasure. Take care.